Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the unnamed rest round betting show. What are we thinking on? Like rest round bets? That doesn't sound too
I
bad.
was thinking like the bet round. I don't
The bet,
know. I gotta be
the
honest.
bets
I don't really
round. I
know.
don't know if that's just like too corny, but I kind of like the bet. No, the bet
Still a work in progress. Working
work in
title.
progress. TBD. The
Working
Fight Me
title.
Bro betting show. In the interim, this week, Matt and Nick bring to you the fights that the bets that we like the most for UFC. Was it Fight Night? Robert Whittaker
Indeed.
versus Kelvin Gastelum, as well as some Bellator. Um, who is it? Phil.
I got some Bellator on the card.
Yeah, Phil Davis is fighting what, that Russian dude,
Yep, Vadim Nemkov.
and he is the dog, correct? Or
The
is he
Russian
favored?
dude?
No, is who's favored in that fight?
Nemkov.
Nemkov. Okay, yeah. I'm like, man, Phil Davis is. I thought he was gonna be favored, and I was like, man, Phil Davis is still getting like favorite lines because he's Phil Davis, and it's like, okay, finally that stopped in Bellator. But yeah, we got quite some picks. Nick, you have three. I was saying I have three before I get to my locks of the week. So I guess that means I'll start. I'll fire off my Bellator picks from the beginning. First, I'm going Mads Burnell. This is one of those fighters that goes to Bellator, has a great career after leaving the UFC that no one gives a shit about. And it's like, oh, remember Mads Burnell? It's like, oh yeah, like the kind of good prospect that came to the UFC, showed some promise. I feel like he was let go early. And then he's gonna come and just start some dudes. So I think minus 190, put in the books, as well as my thought process. I'm like, well, if I'm taking a stab in Bellator, you gotta go with Old Faithful here. Corey Anderson, this again has coming over from the UFC, just being like, oh, look, he rattled off 7 wins that no one fucking cares about against no names. So I'm going with Corey Anderson at minus.
Oh, really? I see. I don't
Yeah,
have that on my card.
I'm going
I
Corey
think
Anderson
that
minus 185 because
I
he.
think if anything, that one would go the other way because that to me that one falls under bet for sorrow,
But
and
like
he
bet for
just has
sorrow,
he has the Benson Henderson like comes over and just gets obliterated like,
I
oh,
see.
you suck.
I think he has the more like the longer path of sorrow where he goes in like Ryan Bader and it's like has a great career and everyone's just like, who gives a fuck about Ryan Bader? And it's like, well, look at
Yeah.
me, guys. I'm like, I'm going for a world title, and it's like, yeah, Corey Anderson, still no one cares. It's almost like you could do whatever you want, but you still can't fucking win. That's what it seems like. So, but like you said, the probably more direct path is him going over, getting starched by some no name. But I
Then no
think,
one really cares.
yeah, and then yeah, his name falls off a fucking cliff. I think he pulls off a few, and it's just like, all right, well, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's there to hear it, does it really fall? It's like that's gonna be the situation.
Corey Anderson gets knocked out in Bellator and no one sees it.
He's gonna have like a crazy awesome like knockout, and it's gonna be like, yeah, no shit. Like he's gonna look around like, guys, finally, like I got my highlight reel, and they're like, nah, nah, it's
no,
okay. We'll
no one
pass.
cares.
We're good
Well,
on that.
yeah, Mr. Superman though here.
Yeah. So
Uh,
those are my picks for Bellator. What do you got up?
Okay, I just got one in Bellator, and I'm taking Nemkov. One little 1 unit play at the minus 200 line. I gotta be honest. After kind of watching the first fight, I think Phil Davis really could spring the upset here if he just wrestled the entire time.
Mhm.
But I can't remember the last time I've watched a Phil Davis fight where he's wrestled the entire time. He's gotten really he's feeling himself on this long 1-2 rear kick program that he's been on for quite some time. And also, I don't know what it is. Something about Phil Davis with like the who is with like the Peanut Tillman haircut, where he's got like the dreads, but they're not the long dreads. They're just like the mini dreads.
Yeah.
Something about that does that not a winner's
I
haircut.
don't like that. You change your haircut.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Step
like
Brothers. Like you better change it before I change it for you.
yeah, it just doesn't seem good. And this Nemkov guy just scares the shit. Like he's like an Ivan Drago type. When you're watching the promos and stuff,
Drago
he
Jr.
yeah. I mean, he was like when they're showing the promos, he's like, I enjoy my time. Like obviously in crazy psychopath Russian accent, it's like I enjoy my time in the military very much. It's just pictures of him holding shitloads of guns. It's like, okay, so you just like killing people is pretty much what I'm
It's
gathering
like
from this.
him with the Russian equivalent of like ISIS, like beheading people and being like,
It,
"Oh, the military was a great time." Kind of like fucking Stipe taking a picture of like a guy dead in a car and being like, "Dude, the craziest thing happened to me." Was it
yeah,
Stipe? Who was that crazy
no,
story?
that's Jan.
Jan
Yeah, what the
Blachowicz. Yeah,
fuck
that's
are
who.
you talking about,
I
dude?
thought I
It's,
knew it was like one of the champs that that like
yeah, white guy
white guy, bigger guy. It was Jan Blachowicz that's taking fucking selfies with a dead guy
with
in
the
the car.
dead guy in the forest. They, yeah, no, I don't know. And Nemkov won the first matchup, and that's why I said like I think Phil could spring the upset because while it wasn't a dominant
Mhm.
wrestling win, I think the path is there, but he's just going to try to stand with him too much because that's just fight IQ is not apparently not super high, which was one of the things I think Phil Davis was really good at during his time in the UFC, which I know was many moons ago, but
I
was staying
think
in his lane. And he's just
fighters at some point they just like convince themselves, like more of like just rationalize with themselves. They're just like, oh, I get paid to make exciting fights, so I'm just gonna stand up now. And it's like, no, you just don't want to wrestle anymore. Like that's really hard, and you just want to like knock someone out. But you're gonna just say like, I'm a highlight fighter. Like I just should be on the feet. It's like, no, you should be trying to win at all costs. Like make it exciting, but win first, and don't just like stick to something because you're like hoping you clip someone.
yeah. So I got Nemkov one unit play. That's all I got in Bellator.
All right. Well, then my last play before I get to my two locks of the week, I'm going Andre Arlovsky versus Chase Sherman. Chase Sherman's just not that good. Like Arlovsky, I think is good enough and seasoned enough, and like it's not like Chase Sherman is this crazy good athlete. He's kind of like a smaller heavyweight, and Arlovsky seems to be has been doing a good job of just like not really getting damage. And like Chase Sherman has just been like in and out of the UFC, like back and forth wins and stuff. And I think don't be like mistaken here just because Arlovsky's old. He's old, but he's in the heavyweight division. So like, what is he? 42?
And he's too old. Is how old he
He
is.
is too old, but like, I don't know. I still
You're
think he's
playing a
gonna.
dangerous game
I
at
am
this
playing a
point in
dangerous
time, betting on our because at any moment he could
game.
be old, and
True,
then
where it's like
he
it
just
just turns
dies.
into dust. But I do want to just look up Chase Sherman's record. It is not good.
No, it's real bad. He had went on a real bad skid there on his way out
He's
of the
gone.
UFC the
I
first
don't know
time.
if anyone has done more. Well, actually, he's on a 4-fight win streak, but
No,
all
now, but when he was leaving the
Square
UFC
Ring
the first time,
Promotions Island fights, and then he beat someone. Is Isaac Villanueva, but he lost to Augusto Sakai, Justin Willis, Shamil Abdurakhimov, couple wins, and lost to Walt Harris, lost to Justin Lundett. He's just got, yeah, I don't know. I'm sticking with my bet minus 120. Arlovsky's gonna pull it off, but 30-20, that's a pretty sorry record too, though. At 42
30 and 20.
years old, god damn it.
That's a lot of fights, bro.
Yeah, but he's not like on a losing streak though. If I would have looked up and he's like on a 3-fight losing streak, I'd be like, oh fuck. But he's
Yeah,
been Orlovsky's been doing the perfect job of staying just enough that we're not like we need to pull the plug on this guy. Like he loses really bad, but he comes off, has a decent win, maybe a couple two, then loses really bad again. And I think this is gonna be a bounce back fight for him.
okay. Yeah. Again, I just
It's
can't.
risky. It's gambling, baby.
Arlovsky fights are getting to be risky
I went.
business because he's so bad that they don't put him against these totally young guns anymore. Where it's like, okay, this is obviously just a highlight for the young guy. He's
Mhm.
not in those fights anymore. So now it's hard to find good Arlovsky lines. My next pick is going to be another small. Again, not a lot I felt great about this week. So a lot of only one unit plays this week, but uh, I'm going to take Tracy Cortez by decision, though. I'm not jumping at that minus 275 or whatever the full line is because Justine Quiche, as much as she's not that great, and as much as these are wins from a galaxy far, far away in a bygone era, she at one point she did beat Nina Ansaroff and Ashley Yoder, and those like I probably would pick both of them, even Ashley Yoder included, to beat Tracy Cortez today. Tracy Cortez to me is from what I've seen is just Paige Van Zant light. Like it's just it's a lot of it's the same. It's a lot of the same thing. It's like striking's not great, but a great athlete,
It's
a lot of hustle, a lot of cardio, good scrambler, not really great like offensive takedown artist, but like scrambles well. So like if she gets in on a single or something, if she could turn it into a scramble, then she probably will end up on top, kind of a thing. And Justin Keach is just getting old. Like she's getting up
Yeah.
there, and lately, and as much as she had those wins back in the day, again, like I said, can't put too much stock in those because they were literally years ago,
Mhm.
and both of those fighters, especially Nina Ansaroff, is far different than she was back in the day. Her record as of late though it has been trash. So she's lost, I believe, 3 out of her last 4 or 4 out of her last 5. She has done awful. So I think that's why Cortez is favored by so much. And the other thing is, so I'm just going to knock this down to, I'm knocking it down to the minus 125 decision line because Tracy Cortez has 0 finishes in her last 4 fights, all of which like 0 UFC finishes. So
I like that comparison to Paige Van Zandt. Like you could almost call it like Paige Van Zandt, like light Tina.
yeah, yes, exactly.
A little racist, but like
a little bit, but I'm not wrong. I mean, what those two, you put them together. If you just had a silhouette of Paige fighting and Tracy fighting, if you just
I'm beating off to both of them. Like,
obviously one has a huge ass, the other has a huge tit. So if
yeah,
you right size those down so that you couldn't tell the difference.
it's the
I
Latina
mean, how
thing.
do you tell who's who?
Mhm.
Their fight, they're like the same, and that unless this is going to be the fight that Tracy Cortez breaks out the jumping switch kick knockout that she'll ride out for 4 to 5 years of fame, which I don't think it is. And then the decision seems okay. So I'm just going to go with Cortez being, this is a setup fight again to just get, obviously the UFC is going to try to get her a couple dubs, make her a little more marketable because, I mean, she's obviously gorgeous, but it just, the fact of the matter here is that not a great finisher. I personally don't think that the line for the fight should be minus 275. I think that's kind of
No,
ridiculous. Even with
that's like 85% name and like 15% ass, and it's just
yeah,
like it's just such a
I
skewed line.
would go so far as to say it's 65% name, 35% ass.
Yeah, we're getting
It's
math details here, but it's somewhere in that that range. But yeah, that's what's great about some of these girl like lines is you could get some value in betting and being like, okay, like let me look up their records, let me look up the other girls' records because like some girls are just really good at just not getting finished. Like they'll lose, but they're all decisions. Or some girls are really good at winning and they're all decisions. I think you can shave down some good lines to get those decisions. So don't hate that bet. I like that a lot. So on to my first lock of the week. I think I first had this bet 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago. I put like multiple units on it. So I'm going 4 units this play. Bobby Knuckles is going to beat Kelvin Gastelum. It's just, I had it lock of the week, like weeks ago, like months ago, I mean, when they are first originally supposed to fight. That fell through. Every time it's announced, I'm like, I'm going ham on Robert Whittaker because I just don't want to live in the world where guys like Calvin Gastelum could beat guys like Robert Whittaker, where Robert Whittaker is literally being like, no, I'm going to the hospital because like I'm training too hard. Like I need to take a break because I am just can't stop fucking training. Like I want to be the best in the world. And it's like my body is literally like telling me slow down. And then there's Calvin Gastelum that's like, yeah, I can't get pulled away from the taco truck like at all. There's no capacity. Like I can't stop sprinting to that thing. The tough clip where they're like, all right, we're gonna have you guys run a 5K as fast as you can, or like a mile. It wasn't that far at all, and it was Robert Whittaker
I
versus
mean, dude,
Kelvin
a
Gastelum.
5K is like
It, it
almost
wasn't
3
it
miles.
wasn't a far amount of distance,
No, I
and
know that's what I'm saying.
I
When they're
know
like a 5K, people when you
it's gonna
throw
take 20
K's in
minutes.
there, it starts
20,
sounding
yeah,
like crazy. Dude, if you run at a good like
you're trying to set a
it's
pace.
my contention that if you're a I mean, I don't think every UFC fighter can do it, but I'm pretty sure a 5K is around because my dad wanted to. He asked me, and I'm like, 5K? Are you fucking crazy? He's like, dude, no, it's not that. Before I even thought about it, I mean, this is years ago, and he's like, no, he's like, yeah, we should do one. It'll be like a fun thing that we could go do, and which, first of all, like running, not so fun, but I think it was part of one of those like tough mudder things. But like you said, the point of the story is a 5K. Yeah, it's like 2.7 miles. So if you're running at like a a professional athlete clip of 7-minute miles, which is not much to ask if you're fighting for UFC titles. That's 18 minutes of running.
Yeah.
It's not that much.
Yeah, I think it comes out close. I think it's 3 points. But he throws up. Like, that's the problem, is that oh shit, I think we're losing you. A bad connection. Hold on. You back? Can you hear me?
Yeah, hang on, you froze. Yeah.
All right, back. Hold on, let's make sure we're good. Can't tell if you're frozen or not.
That's fine.
Yeah, but Gastellum, I think he ends up throwing up on the like he can't even make it through, and like Bobby Knuckles, of course, just like steamrolls him. Like Gastelum's heart sunk to his stomach as soon as they announced like they're on a track, and it's like you guys have to run against each other. He's like, I'm gonna lose, but it's just more of a battle of like, can I just lose respectfully? And the answer is like, no, you can't even lose respectfully in a jog to Robert Whittaker.
Don't make
You're
it
gonna get steamrolled by this guy. I know that's not necessarily Kelvin Gastelum's style and its power, but like if he could be guys like Yoel Romero and he could be guys like these like more powerful, I just don't think Robert Whittaker is gonna be dumb enough to play into any sort of Kelvin Gastelum's game. And I like Kelvin Gastelum, but I just love Bobby Knuckles, and I think the style matchup's just there. So I'm liking him for 4 units. I'm also going to unit Whittaker by decision at plus 150. I just think this just has decision written all over it. Like Bobby Knuckles just seems to like that's his.
Is that the second lock, or is
that's just under my
bet?
Like it's not my lock, but like I'm only announcing it. My second lock.
Oh.
I'll just put that right now. It's good. When I saw this line, I couldn't believe it. Jeremy Stevens over Drakkar Klose minus 120. Like, why is Drakkar Klose and Jeremy Stevens like this close in no pun intended? Like, who is Drakkar Klose beaten recently? Like, I just remember him getting
nuked by Beneil Dariush.
Exactly. And if he could get nuked by Beneil Dariush, he could get nuked by Jeremy Stevens.
I think
which
it's
I'm also
because
taking.
Stevens has been fighting at 145, and this is at 55.
Yeah, I know, but I still.
I know. I'm saying that's why I think.
Oh, that's why it's close. I guess that makes a little bit more sense. But I still just think Jeremy Stevens is going to be able to like. He's got a hell of a chin, so I'm not really concerned about that. And Jeremy Stevens hits hard as fuck. Like Drakkar Klose is going to be in the like. He's just going to get hit. He just seems like the type of guy, like his fighting style. He's going to get hit, and I don't think he hits hard enough to knock out Jeremy Stevens. And he's a kill or be killed type of fighter. And that's just coming off of really just seeing that Beneil Dariush fight. Like, I know I've seen Drakkar Klose fight before, but I just hate that fucking tattoo that he has. Like, what Michigan? Is it? What's it?
Is he the guy with the Michigan tattoo?
Yeah. Oh, is it like a Michigan like wrestling?
It's just the state of Michigan.
Yeah.
I will say this though, Jeremy Stevens, no dubs since 2018.
Those are sabermetrics that I'm choosing to ignore. Just don't matter right now. But look who fought in that time. Like he literally was giving it, like not giving it to what's his name? Boston guy.
Yair.
No. Well, Yair too.
Cater.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't say Cater was in trouble, but like until things went bad for Jeremy Stevens.
6 pounds for that fight.
Did he really?
Yes.
Well, so he's been fighting at 155, so that's perfectly fine. It's less of a weight adjustment. He's got power at that weight. Yeah, no, Jeremy Stevens minus 120.
6-3-1 in his last 10.
That's fucking beautiful. He's being former champ Henan Barao. So before it was cool. Like, there were still some residual steroids probably. So
5-9-1 in his last 15.
Again,
Jeremy Stevens has a salty record, dude. I don't know. This he does just enough. I'm looking at his record right now. He does just enough every time it's. I mean, obviously the UFC is going to keep him around because he's a psychopath, but
yeah,
he does just enough every time it looks like it's about to be time to cut Jeremy Stevens. He does the bare minimum of like gets a big knockout, wins over a guy that's hot. Something like he just and maybe that if anything that just proves your point. This is probably a guaranteed win for him.
Yeah,
because right now he's on the skids. So if
this is the comeback where he knocks someone until he doesn't. Like there's gonna be one time where it's like, oh, Jeremy Stevens gonna swing back, and it's like, oh, He doesn't. And this might be it, but I don't think it is. And like I said, this is more of like less than a Jeremy Stevens thing and more, well, a little bit of a Jeremy Stevens thing because he only tries to knock people out. Like he doesn't fight to try to win decisions. He's trying to just knock you out. And Jakar Close does the same thing. So someone's getting knocked
Close
out.
is also not beating anybody that's good at all. That's not named Bobby Green.
Yeah,
And Bobby
exactly.
Green
like he's
hasn't
not
beaten
good. Like
anybody at the top level.
He's good in the first round. Like he comes out like a bat out of hell. So I'm just thinking someone's getting knocked out. Plus 310, like to more likely than not, I think Jakar Close gets slept. So
Jakar Close, fun fact, married to Courtney Casey.
Not surprising.
Yeah.
Like I don't mean that as like a slight to anyone. I'm just like, oh, like that's just one that you're like, oh, well, yeah, checks out. I could see it.
Yep. Okay. Well, yeah. So I guess my lock of the week. You kind of stole my thunder with the big unit play there because I mean, this is the only thing that I feel good about, which is just Robert Whittaker, man. Got to go backing up with Bobby for 3. I did not have the no 4 unit play on there. Not going that crazy, but yeah, I this one, it's just this is just one of those fights that you look at and like a lot of how I'll bet sometimes, as everyone knows, which has been working for me in the past 3 weeks, it is just if the one chance of victory is sort of okay, he needs to just get rocked and die, or it needs to end up on the mat and it's completely like if like if Nina Ansaroff wasn't 35 and was instead maybe Tatiana Suarez, and I knew, okay, there's a literal 0% chance that Mackenzie Dern is able to get like this fight will never go to the ground ever, because Tatiana Suarez just won't go to the ground with Mackenzie Dern. Now she might, because she's that confident in wrestling. But the point is, if Mackenzie Dern where I thought Mackenzie Dern, there was a very real possibility that she could athlete her way into a takedown. And then once it got on the ground, it's over, which is exactly what happened. So shout out me. But in this fight, I don't understand, because Gastellum doesn't really even throw big looping hooks. He's not a big head kick guy, doesn't throw knees. So really basically what has to happen is Robert Whittaker needs to get just obliterated by a left straight down the pipe, which I just don't see happening. Like and the other thing,
defense is so good, like with his like kind of karate stance, and like I could maybe see him really fucking up that front. Like, but Gastelum's not really like a leg kicker like that, and he's not fast. I feel like Whittaker is fast enough that he'd be able to get that out of the way. Like
that's the thing.
If you're able to stick that like consistently, like kind of Adesanya was, but like he's so long and just like, okay, you can hit that there. It's like it really throws him off. But Gastelum's not going to fight like that. Gastelum's going to have his feet planned, being like,
and he won the Ian Heinisch fight with a lot of wrestling, but Robert Whittaker is an infinitely better wrestler than Ian Heinisch. Like that's not going to happen in this fight.
Offensive wrestling for the sake of like he has done it like recently to win fights, to be like, oh, here and there, but it's not like, okay, a big part of my game plan is like trying to initiate grappling exchanges to take you down. It's like,
wait, who?
I'm saying Robert Whittaker is not like that. Like, when has Robert Whittaker been?
Oh, no, I'm saying Kelvin Gastelum had to take down Ian Heinisch to beat him.
Yes,
in his last fight, and it's like that strategy is not going to work. There's no way he's going to get Whittaker down routinely. And I mean, the one thing everyone's making a big thing about is like, well, Robert Whittaker, we've seen him kind of tired, and some of those Yoel Romero. It's like, dude, those are some of the most chaotic. The Robert Whittaker fights against Yoel Romero, those two were some of the most chaotic fights in the history of fighting. So
how tired do you think Gastellum is going to be to get?
Well, Gastellum is a guy that I do agree. Like Gastellum is a guy that'll push through that exhaust. Like, I mean,
yeah.
Realistically, if like gun to head, you had to pick a guy that if it's because guy that's gonna dig deep and find it and pull out the win, that's gonna be Whittaker. But the guy that's gonna look fresher, I honestly might say it's Gastellum. But this fight,
Gastellum just is a fucking wildebeest. Like, it's like it's just mindless, but he just barreling through. Like that Adesanya fight, it was like, right, you have no business standing right now, but like you're still somehow like you've been exhausted from the first 30 seconds. How are you still like? And it's not even. It doesn't. feel like a Whittaker in the sense like Whittaker, it's like, man, he's like you said, digging deep, finding a Gastellum, it's just like trudging along.
He's a zombie. He's a zombie. But
like,
that said, I bring that up because that's one thing everyone's hanging their hat on this week. Why does anyone think that this fight is going to be that frenetic of a pace? I got to be honest. I think this is going to be probably it's going to be a boring fight, but it's going to be nice to appreciate the skill that Whittaker brings to the table. Like I really don't think that this is going to be that crazy of a fight. I think it's going to be a lot of Robert Whittaker jabs, a lot. Like you're going to get that flicking front jab. You're going to get a lot of head kicks that Gastellum blocks on the shins. And then you're probably going to get a lot of like little snapping low kicks to Gastelum's lead leg. And realistically, that's about it. Like I'm really not expecting a whole lot of fireworks for this fight.
Here's what I see it. I see it just like that, but like ramping up until like the third round where like Whittaker's like, you know what? I'm going to start to try to put it on. And then he's going to see like Gastellum not really go away. And then Gastellum like clips him a couple times. And then Whittaker's going to go back to like, all right, let me just close out this fight. Kind of very similar to like the Jared Cannonier fight. Like, oh, he's doing good. He's doing better. He's doing better. And then it's just like, all right, well, oh shit, this guy hits hard. I can't give like, just be safe. I don't know. Robert Whittaker has like the game plan to beat guys like Kelvin Gastelum, unless like he chooses to try to wrestle.
I mean, again, I know I don't know if I'm doing the thing that Kelvin Gastelum wants everyone to do, but Kelvin Gastelum's good, even though he's been on a skid. Like, he's a good fighter, but styles make fights. This is just a fucking god awful matchup. And
just for the most part, fighters,
it's like Whittaker's look. Yeah, and Whittaker's looked really good since losing to Izzy. He's only had 2 fights, but I mean, the fight with Till was really close. Like I said, you could argue scoring it for Till, but that's the only reason that you could argue scoring it for Till is because he had that one big round with the elbow where he just cracked. If you take that out, then it's a very clear dub for Whittaker, and then he looked incredible in the Cannonier fight. So it's just where Gastellum has not looked great recently. Even against Heinisch, I was not overly impressed. So
yeah, it was just like, oh, he's a better athlete. They're getting wrestling exchange. There are some where like when Ian Heinisch, I think, caught him with like a clean head kick and Gastellum just turned it into a takedown. Like that was one of the what the fuck? Like that shouldn't happen. But like Robert Whittaker is just a good enough athlete that it's like, yeah, that's just not going to happen on me. Like I don't care who you are. You can be Yoel Romero. You're just not going to be able to like fucking out athlete me. So yeah, that one's going to be easy money. That I mean, I am either going to be super disappointed or super happy. But those are our bets this week. Tune in for, I'm sure we have fights next week, but as always, you can find us. Well, actually, not as always. We have a new Twitter name. It is, you can find us at
next
the
rest
round.
The triple title card.
Oh, sorry. I think we're cut out again. What were you saying? Oh, shit. Hold on. I have one more pick that I totally forgot to put in there. I'm going with Askren. I'm going with Askren. Who are you picking for?
No,
I'm just, I have to,
dude. I'm
putting MMA on the line, putting my heart on the line. It's just got to be Askren. You just have to have faith that an MMA fighter can beat.
I think you need to have faith, but dude, I know anybody can look good on the pads, and so I know that it's easy to get duped. But I gotta be honest, man. Like watching Ben Askren punch and watching Jake Paul punch. One of those guys, and I get that Jake Paul's bigger, like a lot bigger. Like he's like 30 pounds bigger. Mm-hmm. But like he actually looks, as much as I know he'll get tired and he'll get worn out and he just has never been in the moment like this and blah, blah, blah. All the things that Askren's been saying all week. Jake Paul looks like when he's fresh, at least, when he throws a jab and when he throws a 1-2, like it actually would appear that there's some snap on it. Where Ben Askren,
they're just push punches.
That guy,
pushes face really hard.
Yeah, that guy couldn't punch his way out of a paper bag. Like it's just,
God,
I don't know.
I just have to.
I really am more excited for that than
anything.
I mean, outside of Whittaker, just because I really like watching Whittaker fight, but that just because. And again, this is exactly what they want. I have no shame in admitting it. It's not like, oh, you're going to watch that garbage. Because there are some people that are like, I can't believe people are going to watch this over UFC. You're fucking right, I am.
Yeah, I need to. These eyes.
Yeah.
I
but
need to see what that looks like.
I'm just the morbid curiosity, like, and because I know what happens if Jake Paul boxes a boxer. Jake Paul could fight a 500 fighter and he would get obliterated, like in his weight class. Like if he just fought
Yeah.
a 500 boxer,
Yeah. Oh, it'd be
he'd get nuked
disgusting.
instantly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when he takes on these little, first it's a YouTube guy. Can he throw punches at all?
Mhm.
Okay, knocks out the YouTube guy. Then it's Nate Robinson. And it's like, oh, well, maybe Nate Robinson is an athlete. And then it's, okay, well, Nate Robinson didn't take that very seriously. He got knocked out. Now it's, okay, well, he's fighting a fighter that just never really punched anyone. And it's like, oh, okay. So I'm very
still like, I'm
intrigued.
just way I picture it's like I'm just picturing them like that. I'm not basing it off of the stare down that they had, the little exchange, but I'm just like, I think when it comes down to when it's just mano y mano, like this guy versus that guy, that it's like, I think Askren's gonna be like, you're just a punk kid, man. Like you're not really good at like that. As much as mentality doesn't really matter when someone's knocking you out, but I think a guy that's training and knows how to stay protected and being like, dude, having no trust and be like, okay, this guy's strong, and kind of knowing he at least could game plan like a professional athlete. Like fucking Jake Paul is like, I'm gonna go fucking there and nuke him. He's gonna do exactly what Ben Askren's expecting him to do, you know, like with that, he might be able to do something. And so I'm hoping, was it 12 rounds or how many?
No, I think it's 8.
8. See, that's not that many, but like, I don't know, to eke out like a late decision. So it's like, can Askren finish him? What's probably gonna happen is Jake Paul's gonna go out there and kind of beat the shit out of him for the first like 3 rounds, and then it's gonna look like, oh, I don't know, maybe he gives some to Askren, and then maybe Askren looked at the end, but it's gonna be too little, too late, and it's gonna be like, well, Jake Paul won, and he's gonna be like bragging, and it's gonna be the lamest way to win, and it keeps the train going, and then we're in Dylan Dennis land. So that's probably what's gonna happen. But I'm excited for it. Tune in next week for the rest round. I'm sure we're gonna be talking all about it. That'll be coming out Monday. So until then, guys. Oh yeah, you can find me at Broliva MMA, new Twitter handle, and you can find Nick at _ a guy in a gi. Till next week, peace out.